Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. China spends a large amount of imports in the field of integrated circuits every year, often worth hundreds of billions of dollars, providing massive business opportunities to semiconductor giants such as the United States, South Korea, and Japan. China meets its needs, foreign companies earn revenue, and each gets what they need to achieve a win-win situation. But in order to maintain its competitive advantage, the United States will not allow them to sell high-end chips to China. Thanks to China's self-research efforts, the mid to low-end mature chip field has increased its self-sufficiency, and the chips allowed to be sold in the United States are gradually being replaced by China. In the first 7 months of this year, China's integrated circuit imports fell by 60 billion units year-on-year. The Chinese giant officially announced that foreign media, "I did not expect the sanctions to be imposed so quickly." China's integrated circuit imports decline. China's integrated circuit market is a huge market, with not only huge demand, but also huge growth potential. Qualcomm of the United States obtains more than 60% of its revenue in China, and Intel also obtains 30% of its revenue from the Chinese market. Japan's semiconductor equipment market is very dependent on China. More than 30% of China's semiconductor equipment imports come from Japan. In order to do business in China, many foreign giants have set up chip production bases, R&D centers, etc. in China to establish in-depth cooperative relationships with Chinese customers. However, the financial resources of foreign companies are being blocked by the United States. The United States has enacted strict chip export control rules, and high-end chip products cannot be sold normally. The United States only cares about its own selfish interests, and does not consider others at all. The revenue and profits of U.S. companies such as Qualcomm, Intel, and AMD have all fallen sharply, and the United States has not changed its mind. The United States does not export high-end chips, but sells mid to low-end chips to China in large quantities. Unexpectedly, China has already increased its self-sufficiency in this part of the chip field. According to customs data, China reduced imports of chips by 60 billion in the first 7 months of this year. Last year, China's reduced import volume of integrated circuits was 97 billion. This year, it is likely to set a new record, with over 100 billion chip orders cancelled. This is not a good thing for foreign chip giants. China's chip industry has been pursuing independent technological innovation and reducing its dependence on imported chips. U.S. chip restrictions are accelerating this situation. It's not that easy to dump the market with mid to low-end chips. The decline in China's integrated circuit imports shows that China has manufactured most of its chips domestically. China increases chip self-sufficiency. The United States does not want to see the rise of the chip industry in other countries, mainly because chip technology is one of the most critical and core areas in today's modern technology. It involves many aspects, such as economic development and technological innovation. If the chip industry in other countries rises, it will shake the United States' leading position and interests in this field. Originally, the United States could win the market through fair competition, but the United States waived the banner of sanctions, undermined fair competition, and disrupted market order. While American companies suffered backlash, it also accelerated China's efforts to become self-sufficient in chips. The Chinese giant officially announced that domestic manufacturers, represented by SMIC, are building 12-inch wafer fabs in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Tianjin to significantly expand mature chip production capacity. If the construction of all factories is completed, SMIC can add 340,000 wafers per month, which is 4.08 million wafers per year. With the expansion of production by SMIC and other manufacturers, China's chip production capacity will be significantly increased, which will help meet the domestic market's demand for chips, reduce dependence on imported chips, and increase chip self-sufficiency. What the United States does not want to see has happened. China has the ability to independently develop and produce chips. It can better control the production process and technical routes of chips, thereby improving the controllability of chips. If the United States does not continue to export high-end chips in the future, China will also increase its research and development efforts on high-end chips. The emergence of Huawei's Kirin 9000S chip basically shows that China has this ability and idea. The more restrictive the United States is, the more China must develop its own. Foreign media did not expect the sanctions to be imposed so quickly. In the past, China relied on importing high-end chips from the United States, but U.S. chip companies did not rely on the Chinese market. The Chinese market is the world's largest consumer market and is an important market that cannot be ignored for U.S. chip companies. They have been doing business in China for decades and have earned huge wealth. A ban from the United States will break the way they do business. U.S. Commerce Secretary Raimondo said that he will continue to sell more chips to China, but not the top ones. This is actually pushing U.S. companies into a deeper valley. On the surface, it allows U.S. companies to continue shipping chips to Chinese customers, but in fact it is forcing customers to step up their own research. Since Raimondo has made it clear that he will not sell the most top-notch chips, China will inevitably invest in deeper research in order to have autonomous and controllable chips. China will gradually reduce imports of mid to low-end chips that are allowed to be sold. Some U.S. media said, Biden did not expect the sanctions to be imposed so quickly, and China no longer buys American chips. The key is that the United States shows no signs of turning back and is still stepping up its actions. Especially after Huawei launched the Kirin 9000S chip, the United States believed that it was created using their technology and wanted to conduct a comprehensive investigation into this chip. Japanese laboratories have long disassembled the Mate 60 Pro mobile phone and found out that it does not use an American chip. This means that the U.S. chip sanctions network has been torn apart, but the United States is unwilling to admit the reality. As time goes by, sooner or later, the United States will realize that restrictions are creating a cocoon of its own, and American companies will suffer severe backlash.